Welcome to Learn English Speaking. Let's talk stories. Here we bring you amazing stories to improve your English fluency. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more exciting lessons. Let's learn together.
Political planning. The phone woke the president at 4:30 in the morning. He listened to the voice for a minute and then jumped out of bed. 8 minutes later, he was in the office. Fletcher Cole, his chief of staff, was waiting for him.
"What the hell happened?"
the president asked. Cole walked up and down in front of the president's desk.
"We don't know much,"
he said.
"They're both dead. 2 FBI men found Rosenberg at 1 a.m. His nurse and guard were also dead. 3 bullets each. Very clean, very professional. While the FBI were at Rosenberg's house, they heard that the police had found Jensen's body in a homosexual club. Voiles called me, and I called you. He'll be here in a minute." "Rosenberg is dead?"
the president said.
"Yes, at last."
Rosenberg and the Republican government had not been friends.
"I suggest you go on TV in 2 or 3 hours' time and tell the country about it all. Mabry is already working on your speech. We don't want to leave it until later because we want to be the first to tell them. The press already have the news." "I didn't know he was a homosexual." "There's no doubt about it now. This is the perfect crisis. We didn't cause it. We didn't do anything wrong. The country will be shocked and they'll turn to you. You're going to be more popular than ever, and next year you'll be elected again for another 4 years. It's great. And I can get 2 new men into the Supreme Court." "Exactly. That's the best bit. They'll be your men, and they'll be there forever. You'll have a first list of names by tomorrow." "Are there any suspects?" "Not yet." The president smiled. "Voiles' FBI men were supposed to protect the judges, weren't they? Good. I want you to leak that information to the press. Maybe we can get rid of Voiles, too."
When Voiles arrived a moment later, the president and Cole tried to look worried. Voiles told them that there were no suspects yet, and the president asked for a list by 5 o'clock that evening. They agreed that the killings must be connected. Voiles denied that his men had been careless. "Rosenberg and Jensen are dead because they refused to let us guard them properly," he said. "We're guarding the other 7, and they're still alive." "At the moment," the president said, and looked at Cole. They almost smiled. They could easily make Voiles look stupid and inefficient over this business. Voiles knew it too. He was going to have to be careful. The president, or rather Cole, who told the president what to think, wanted his head, and the press would eat him alive. Back in his office, he ordered a full inquiry into the murders. Darby Shaw woke up a little before dawn. After 15 months of law school at Tulane University in New Orleans, her mind refused to rest for more than 6 hours. The work had not been so hard at her first university, in Phoenix, Arizona, where she had specialized in environmental science. Then she decided to become a lawyer and to defend the environment in the courts. The price was hard work and more hard work. There were some rewards, however. She turned over in the bed to look at the man sleeping next to her. Thomas Callahan was one of the most popular teachers in the university. He was 45 years old, but seemed a lot younger. He drank a lot, wore jeans, drove a Porsche, lived in the French Quarter, and managed to make even constitutional law interesting. He was also good in bed. And for the first time in his life, he had stayed with one woman for more than a few weeks. Darby and he had been together now for several months. She smiled and wondered what her fellow students would think. Only her very best friends knew the secret. She turned the TV on, and suddenly there was the president. She listened for a minute and then shook Thomas awake. "Thomas, wake up. Listen to this." She turned the sound up louder. Callahan sat up and stared at the screen, still half asleep. He understood what the president was saying, though. "Rosenberg? Murdered?" he said. Darby knew that Rosenberg was his hero. "Jensen, too," she said. The president finished his speech and Darby switched the TV off.
"No suspects, according to the president,"
Callahan said. "I can think of at least 20 groups who wanted Rosenberg dead," Darby said, "starting with the Ku Klux Klan."
"Yeah, but why those two judges? Okay, lots of people wanted Rosenberg dead. But why Jensen? Why not McDowell or Yount? They're both more liberal than Jensen."
"Maybe they both just got killed on the same night by chance," Darby suggested, without believing it.
"No, I don't think so,"
said Callahan.
"These are the first Supreme Court judges ever to be murdered. And then 2 in one night? There must be some connection between the murders." "But you know the worst thing? That fool president will be able to fill their places. That means that 8 out of the 9 will be Republicans. We won't be able to recognize the Constitution in 10 years. This is awful."
"Perhaps that's why they were killed, Thomas. Someone or some group wants a different Supreme Court, filled with Republicans."
"But why Jensen? He was appointed by a Republican."
"I don't know, but there must be some connection. Maybe there's a clue in the cases the Supreme Court was due to hear this year. The library will have that information. I think I'll spend some time on this today." Chapter 3. No Clues. Denton Voiles put Eric East in charge of the case. On Thursday, East reported back to Voiles with a list of their top suspects. There were a number of political groups, especially the Underground Army, the Ku Klux Klan, and the White Defenders, but also some individuals who were rich enough to afford the kind of professional killer who had obviously done this job. There was Nelson Munsey, who had lost his daughter in a sex killing in Florida. The police had caught the man, who was black, but thanks to Rosenberg, the man had walked free. There was Clinton Lane, whose son was a homosexual who had died of AIDS. The problem with all these suspects, however, was that the killings were so professional and clean that there were no clues except for the gun and the rope. There were not even any clues about how the killer had entered Rosenberg's house. Still, Voiles and he agreed to have between 5 and 20 men investigate each suspect or group of suspects. In the law library and on the computers of Tulane University, Darby Shaw was gathering pages and pages of information. What was the connection between Rosenberg and Jensen? She could see reasons for killing one or the other, but not both together. But there had to be a single reason. Thomas Callahan slept late and alone. Darby had been too busy to see him since Wednesday. Now it was Friday morning. He made some coffee and, as he drank it, watched the busy French Quarter through his window. What was it he had to do? Oh yes, phone Gavin. On Monday, he was going to Washington for a conference about constitutional law. He and his old friend Gavin Verheek were going to meet and get drunk together on Monday evening. Gavin had been a friend ever since law school. He and Callahan were the only two in their year who refused to go into private practice and get rich. While Callahan had become a teacher, Verheek had joined the FBI as a legal advisor. When Verheek came on the phone, he said,
Thomas, how are you?
"It's 10:30. I'm not dressed. I'm sitting here in the French Quarter, drinking coffee and watching the world outside. What are you doing?"
Well, here it's 11:30, and I haven't left the office since they found the bodies on Wednesday morning.
It makes me sick, Gavin. The president will get 2 Nazis onto the Supreme Court. I suppose you've already seen the list. I bet your office is already checking that they've lived good, clean lives. Go on, Gavin. Tell me who's on the list. I won't tell anyone else.
No chance. I'll only tell you this. Your name's not on the list.
I'm so disappointed.
How's the girl?
Which one?
Come on, Thomas. The girl?
She's beautiful and brilliant and gentle. Oh, and rich. She has red hair and the longest legs you've ever seen.
Wow. What's her name?
Darby Shaw. But I haven't seen her for a couple of days. She's trying to solve the murders all by herself. Why don't you tell me who did it, and then I can tell her, and she'll come back to me.
Don't you read the papers? We have no suspects, not one.
At least I tried. Are we going to meet on Monday?
I hope so. Voiles wants us to work day and night until the computers tell us who did it.
I'll expect a full report on Monday, Gavin. Not just the gossip.
Why don't you bring Darby? How old is she? 19?
24, and she's not invited. I'll see you on Monday at 7 p.m. in the usual restaurant, okay?
Okay. See you.
Darby's inquiries had brought her to the court in Lafayette. Of all the Supreme Court cases due to be heard in the next few months, there was one that could explain the killings. She needed to see the court's files on the case. When the clerk brought them to her table, however, her heart sank. There were lots of files, each inches thick. The case was 7 years old. Only one person was involved, but he had hidden behind 38 different businesses, which had used no fewer than 15 law firms over the last 7 years. She pulled her chair into the table and began to work. Chapter 4. Ideas and Information. The meeting East and Voiles had with Cole and the president did not go well. Not only could they not report any progress, but they had to admit that investigations like this could take many months. Then Cole handed Voiles a list of 8 possible members of the Supreme Court, 2 of whom would fill the places left empty by Rosenberg and Jensen.
"We want a report on these people in 10 days, Voiles,"
he said.
"And make sure the press doesn't get to hear about them."
"You know we can't promise that," Voiles said.
"We can't guarantee no leaks. As soon as we start to dig around these people, someone will realize what's going on." "The FBI can't guarantee secrecy?"
Cole said.
"You better keep this out of the papers, Voiles."
Voiles jumped out of his chair.
"Listen, Cole,"
he shouted.
"Why don't you investigate these people yourself? Don't start telling me what to do."
The president tried to make peace.
"All we're saying is do your best, Voiles,"
he said.
"These people are young, and they're good Republicans. They'll be given the Constitution shape long after I'm dead. So it's important to me that the 2 who become members of the Supreme Court are clean, so that they can stay there forever. So no drugs, no unusual sexual habits, nothing like that. Okay?"
"Yes, Mr. President, but we cannot guarantee total secrecy."
"I understand. Just try your best."
"Yes, sir." Callahan went round to Darby's apartment with a pizza and a bottle of wine. He hadn't seen her for 4 days. He rang on her doorbell. "Who is it?" she called through the door.
"Thomas Callahan," he said. "Do you remember me?"
The door opened and Callahan stepped in.
"Are we still friends?"
he asked, and gave her a kiss. "Of course. I've just been busy."
"So what did the great detective find?"
She was opening the bottle of wine and didn't answer straight away. She poured wine into 2 glasses and they went and sat together on the sofa. She put her legs up onto him and he stroked them. He repeated the question. "Nothing really. I was following a path and it took me somewhere. I even typed it up as a brief, but I don't think it's worth anything."
"What? You've been running around playing detective for 4 days and refusing to see me, and now you're just going to throw it away?"
"It's over there on the table if you want to see it," she said.
"I don't want to see it now," he said. "We have more important things to do. I'm going to be away in Washington for a few days, remember? I'll read your brief and then we'll talk about it, but not till we've been to bed, okay?"
She pulled him towards her, and they kissed long and hard. There was a cleaner in the White House whom everyone called Sarge. He was old, very black, and had white hair. He wore dark glasses all the time, and everyone thought that he was half blind. In fact, Sarge could see very well. He could see round corners. He had been working in the White House for 30 years now, cleaning and listening, cleaning and seeing. He knew which doors stayed open and which walls were thin. No one ever noticed him. His son, Cleve, was a policeman. This is how it worked. Cleve would contact Gray Grantham of the Washington Post and arrange a meeting. Sarge and Grantham would meet. No one knew how Grantham got his political information, but it was always good and always correct. Sarge never talked to anyone except Grantham, and he didn't tell even him everything he found out. This time they met at Glenda's, a little cafe on 14th Street. Sarge was able to tell Grantham two of the people on the list of possible Supreme Court judges. Chapter 5. An Implausible Theory. Verheek had drunk too much the night before with Callahan, as he had known he would. What had he said? Had he given away any secrets? He remembered explaining that the connection between Rosenberg and Jensen was not political. The connection was so obvious that for several days no one in the FBI had seen it. They were killed because the killer could get to them. It was as simple as that. They weren't guarded as well as the others. Of course, this still didn't answer the question why someone wanted two Supreme Court judges dead. He remembered that they spent most of the evening talking about their student days together in Washington, and about women. Callahan had given him a copy of the brief his girlfriend, what was her name? Darby, had written about the death of the two judges. Callahan had said it was an interesting theory. She didn't believe it, nor did he, but it was worth reading. Verheek pulled the brief out of his briefcase now and started to read it. It was better written than most briefs, and he enjoyed it. The theory was implausible, but no one else had thought of it. It was worth considering. He would show it to Eric East. The phone went 4 times. The answering machine came on, but the caller left no message. The phone went again, and the same thing happened again. The 3rd time, Grantham climbed out of bed and answered the phone. It was still dark.
Yes?
Is that Gray Grantham, of the Washington Post?
It is. Who's calling?
I can't give you my name.
Okay. Why are you calling?
I saw your story yesterday about the White House and the possible next 2 Supreme Court judges.
Good. But why are you calling me so early in the morning?
I'm sorry. I'm in a payphone. I'm on my way to work. I can't call from home or the office.
What kind of office?
I'm a lawyer. Great. Washington was home to 500,000 lawyers.
Private or government?
I'd rather not say.
Okay. Anyway, why did you call?
A hesitation. I may know something about Rosenberg and Jensen. Grantham sat up straight.
What exactly?
Are you recording this?
No. Should I?
I don't know, Mr. Grantham. I'd prefer it if you didn't record this, okay?
Whatever you want. I'm listening.
Can you trace this call?
I could, but you're at a payphone. What difference would it make?
You're right. I'm just frightened. You see, I think I know who killed them. Now Grantham was standing.
That's valuable information.
It could get me killed. Do you think they're following me?
Who? Don't worry. Tell me your name.
You can call me Garcia.
That's not your real name, is it? Of course not, but it's the best I can do. Okay, Garcia, talk to me. I'm not certain you understand, but I think I accidentally saw something at the office that I was not supposed to see. Do you have a copy of it? Maybe. Do you want to talk or not? I don't know. What will you do if I tell you something? First, try to find out whether it's true. We won't print the names of the killers of 2 Supreme Court judges in a hurry, believe me.
There was a very long silence.
Garcia, are you still there? Yes. I need to think about this. I might call you later. Okay, if that's what you want. Sorry I woke you up.
The phone went dead. Grantham pushed 7 numbers on his phone, waited, and then pushed 6 more. Another wait, and then 4 more. The small screen on his phone showed him a row of numbers. He wrote them down on a piece of paper. The payphone was on 15th Street. East and K.O. Lewis, Voiles' second-in-command, met with Cole alone because the president was out of Washington. They had 2 bits of information for him. First, they told him that cameras at the airport in Paris had recorded the arrival from Dulles of the killer, Kamel. Cole thought about this for a minute.
What if Kamel was involved in the killings? What does it mean?
It means we'll never find him, Lewis replied. 9 countries around the world have failed to find him for the last 20 years. It means that he was paid a lot of money by someone or some people here to do the killings.
So we know, or we think, that Kamel did the killings, but it doesn't really help us, does it?
No, you're right.
Okay. What else have you got for me?
Lewis looked at East. There's no real progress to report, except...
Except what?
Well, there's this theory which has appeared in the last 24 hours. A law student in New Orleans wrote it up as a brief. We call it the Pelican brief. Here's a copy of it. Voiles liked it, but he was afraid it could hurt the president.
How?
Read it. You'll see. This time Garcia called Grantham during office hours. He didn't tell him anything new. He was still frightened and uncertain. They agreed that he would call again at lunchtime the next day. The call came from a payphone on Pennsylvania Avenue. Later, when the president returned, Cole told him about the brief.
The theory is implausible,
he said.
but Voiles likes it. He probably doesn't believe the theory any more than anyone else, but we've made him look bad over these killings so far, and he wants revenge. He's going to investigate this new suspect. If the press get to hear about the investigation, that could be bad for you. We better do something about it. Is the suspect someone we know? Yes.
Cole explained what was in the brief.
Did we get a lot of money from him? Millions, one way or another,
said Cole. But the president preferred not to know the various ways in which money came in, especially when they weren't always perfectly legal. Chapter 6. Hunted. Thomas was drinking too much over dinner. She didn't like it, and she told him so. He wanted to prove that she was wrong, so he drank even more. They had an argument. After dinner, outside the restaurant, he pulled the keys to his Porsche out of his pocket. "Thomas, no, you're too drunk to drive. Give me the keys." He held on to the keys and set off in the direction of the car park. He couldn't walk straight, and his foot kept slipping off the pavement into the road. She followed him, but stayed some way behind. She was too angry, and just wanted to get back to her apartment alone. He shouted something over his shoulder about how he could drive better when he was drunk. She stood with her arms crossed on the other side of the car park and watched him put the key into the lock. It took him 3 or 4 attempts. Then he was inside, and she lost sight of him between 2 other cars. She heard him start the engine, though. The explosion knocked her to the ground. She lay there for a moment, and then jumped to her feet. The Porsche was a ball of fire. Darby ran towards it, screaming his name. Bits of the car were still falling all around her, and the heat stopped her 30 feet away. She screamed with her hands over her mouth. A second explosion tore through the car and pushed her back. She fell, and her head hit the side of a parked car hard. Everything went blank for a minute. Then there were people everywhere, and voices shouting,
"Whose car is it? Call 911! Was there anyone in it?"
She was repeating the name Thomas. Someone put a cold cloth on her head. She heard the sound of the police and firemen coming, and then there were red and blue lights everywhere. A black man was bending over her.
"Are you all right, miss?"
he asked. "Thomas," she said. "Where's Thomas?"
"Miss, who's Thomas?"
asked the man.
"Was he in that car?"
She nodded and then closed her eyes. She could hear men shouting in the distance. They were all over by the burning car. She sat up and was sick between her legs. Then she felt better. She got up and walked away. She knew who the bomb had been for. Her. And she knew why. She had to hide. They were hunting her. Were they behind her even now? She wandered deep into the French Quarter, found a cheap hotel, and paid for a room with her card. As soon as she was in the room, she locked the door and curled up on the bed with all the lights on. Mrs. Verheek answered the bedside phone.
"It's for you, Gavin,"
she called into the bathroom, where he was shaving. He came and took the phone from her.
"Hello?"
he said angrily. Who could be calling this early in the morning? "This is Darby Shaw. Do you know the name?"
"Yes, we share a friend."
"Did you read the little theory I wrote?"
"Yes, the Pelican brief, as we call it."
"And who is we?" Verheek sat up straight. She was not calling for a friendly chat.
"Why are you calling, Darby?"
"I need some answers, Mr. Verheek. I'm frightened to death."
"It's Gavin, okay?"
"Okay, Gavin. Where's the brief?"
"Why? What's wrong?"
"I'll tell you in a minute. Just tell me what you did with the brief."
"Well, I read it, and then I passed it on to someone else, who passed it on to Denton Voiles, who liked it."
"Has anyone outside the FBI seen it?"
"I can't answer that."
"Then I won't tell you what's happened to Thomas."
"All right, yes,
It's been outside the FBI, but I don't know exactly where, and I don't know how many people have read it.
He's dead, Gavin. He was murdered last night. Someone put a bomb in the car. I was lucky.
Gavin was shocked.
Where are you? Are you safe? New Orleans. Who knows if I'm safe? They must be after me, too. It was me they really wanted. I'll have some men come and get you, Darby. You can't stay on the streets. Then I'll catch a plane and I'll be there by midday. I don't think so. Thomas is dead because he talked to you. Why should I want to talk to you? Give me your number at work. I may call you later. Okay. But Darby, just tell me, did he feel any pain?
There were tears in her voice.
No. It was very quick.
Then she put the phone down. She could let herself cry now, because there wouldn't be time later. Crying could get her killed. Chapter 7. Keep Moving. It was nearly time for the President's daily meeting with Voiles. By now he was tired of the whole business. He just wanted to get his men into the Supreme Court. Cole was telling him something, but he wasn't really listening. Voiles and Cole hated each other so much now that Cole had to leave the office whenever Voiles came. They had nearly fought last time. It didn't matter to Cole whether he was in or out of the office. There were enough hidden microphones and cameras for him to listen and watch any conversation there. The President felt better knowing that Cole was at least watching. He greeted Voiles warmly at the door and led him over to the sofa for a friendly chat. Voiles was not impressed.
Denton,
the President said,
I want to apologize for Cole's behavior last time.
He can be stupid, can't he? Voiles said, knowing that Cole was listening.
Yes, he's very clever and works amazingly hard, but he goes too far sometimes. Anyway, that's all behind us now. I want you to tell me all about this Pelican brief. How seriously are you taking it?
Voiles tried not to smile. This was great. He had managed to get Cole and the President worried. We are investigating all suspects, Mr. President, he replied. We have 14 men on this one.
I don't have to tell you, Denton, the President continued, how much damage this theory could do if the press heard about it.
We won't tell the press, Mr. President.
I know. All I'm saying is that I want you to pull back from this one. The theory is crazy anyway, and I could really get hurt. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Are you asking me not to investigate a suspect, Mr. President?
I'm just saying that you must have better things to do with your men. The press is watching this investigation closely. You know how they are. They don't like me at all. So why don't you leave this one alone and chase the real suspects?
Is that what you're asking me to do?
I'm not asking you, Denton. I'm telling you to leave it alone for a couple of weeks. If you need to go back to it later, of course you must. But I'm still the boss around here. Remember?
Gavin stayed near Voiles' office until the secretary let him in. He couldn't believe it when Voiles and Lewis told him that they were no longer investigating the Pelican theory. My best friend is dead because of that brief, he said. He was killed by a car bomb. Someone is worried about the brief, don't you think?
The brief has already been very valuable to us, Gavin, Lewis said.
Yeah, it let you play some games with the White House, Gavin said bitterly. But there's a girl out there running for her life. What am I going to tell her?
Darby made sure she could not be followed in the crowds in the shopping district. She bought some new clothes and hid her hair under a hat. She went into the Sheraton Hotel and found a row of payphones. First, she called Mrs. Chen, who lived in the apartment next to hers. No, she had not seen anything. Yes, there had been a knock at her door early this morning. Then she called Gavin.
Where are you?
He asked. Let me explain something. For now, I'm not going to tell you or anyone else where I am. Clear?
Yes, but don't go home.
I'm not a fool. They've already been there. What did Mr. Voiles say?
I haven't been able to see him.
You've been at the office for 4 hours, Gavin. I expected you to do better.
Be patient, Darby.
Patience will get me killed. I've got to keep moving. She saw a face. He walked among the tourists at the hotel's front desk. He was trying to look as though he belonged here, but his eyes were searching. The face was long and thin, and he wore round glasses. He was a little over 6 feet tall. Gavin, listen to me, she said. I have to go. I can see a man I've seen before, about an hour ago.
Okay. Take care, Darby, and call me again soon.
I'll try.